Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will announce my decision on school reorganization. In my deliberations on school reorganization, I found the task of making a decision very challenging as I reflected on the many submissions received from our children, our parents, school PTAs, school alumni, our teachers, principals, and concerned members of our community. I have been heartened from reading the array of expressions about our public school education system. So I say thank you to our stakeholders for your patience as I took the time to digest the content of each submission that was received. The feedback has been immense and thoughtful. The submissions included frank views, different ideas, detailed analysis, critiques, alternative suggestions, insightful concepts, and heartfelt testimonies from our school communities. I found that the narrative that has emerged from the consultation is quite different than some of the prevailing perceptions of our public school system. Children are having rich educational experiences that have helped to make schools important to them, important to their parents, and to our communities. It is because of this that I believe we as a country have to do better, and we still need to do more for our children. The school reorganization, or school report, is a valuable piece of work that has brought heightened attention to a number of challenges facing our public school system, including the physical infrastructure of school buildings. The findings of the school report revealed a wealth of data, information, findings, and recommendations that identify great possibilities for improving our public school system. Nonetheless, what is essential at this point is determining a clear direction of what we envision for our public school system, and that's needed first. I believe that the priority is not to close schools at this time, but changes are needed in order to provide a better service for our children. Of all the many responsibilities of government, the security of all and the education of children are paramount. Citizens may thrive in a secure democracy providing they are sufficiently well educated to do so. The provision of education services requires public support and must outlast the limited term of government administrations and the dictates of party politics. The education of our children cannot be held hostage to such restraints. Education is a lifetime commitment. The direction moving forward will begin around 5 areas. 1, develop a strategic plan for the public school system, inclusive of a review of the organizational structure of the Department of Education. 2, ensure that all primary schools are equipped with holistic programs and services that include music, art, physical education, etc. 3, develop and execute on the schedule for improvement of the interior and exterior of all school buildings, with the safety and health of our students being a critical priority. 4, relocate preschools to primary schools where feasible. And 5, explore the repurposing of one of our primary schools, or one of our schools actually, as an alternative education center for the provision of services for students needing alternative learning. A secondary benefit of this option could be that the Ministry of Education is housed within this repurposed facility, ensuring that the people in charge of our system are physically located with our children. We will begin the process of engaging stakeholders on this option and putting together plans to address all of these areas. These 5 areas will provide the building blocks for our way forward. My commitment for our children and the people of Bermuda is to keep everyone informed as much as possible as we look to move forward. As I've always contended, it is about our children, and I will continue to be guided by the mantra, our children first. Thank you. Sure.
Could you re-emphasize the point that you're not going to close schools until feasible? What does feasible mean?
Yes. So the question that everyone's asking, are there going to be any schools closed right now? No, absolutely not, Brian. So for the school year, which starts in September, the same physical schools that we have in place will be in place in September. But as I stated, we will start the process of looking to outline how we can actually provide different services. So we do have to provide some different services than we're providing now, especially around alternative learning, and we will look to do that.
There was a lot of discussion on the 40 square feet size of classrooms. Is that beneficial, or does it take away from our students?
I think it's important to understand why that was put in place, and although there is a lot of merit and discussion on size of class, at this point we feel that it's more important to focus on what's being taught in the classroom and how it's being taught in the classroom. And I believe that the 40 square foot per child in the classroom is really not something that we can look to implement. And so at this time, I'm going to pass on that option.
Are you content, happy, or displeased with that report that came out from the school report?
I think it's very important. Look, we have some great examples of success in our public school system. However, there's been discussions about things that we need to do better for decades. And I believe one of the main benefits of these town hall meetings that have been had, the score report, issues outlining the physical infrastructure of our schools, have raised the public awareness. And that is something that I believe we must continue to do moving forward, because the education of our population and our children is a Bermuda issue. And we need to keep it in the forefront of public discussion.
Repurpose one of our schools as an alternative learning centre. With a slip of the tongue, you said primary. Do you actually have a building in mind?
No, actually, this is a thought. When I look at a lot of the submissions from that have come out of this process, there's been talk of needing to do more of alternative education. There's been talk of doing things differently with special education. And I want to stress, we're not looking or even thinking about having special ed all in one place. But we need to do a better job at this. And one of the thoughts that have come up, and there's also been concern that the Ministry of Education is not accessible, and it is all the way, somewhere else. And, how do we bring these things together? Is there an opportunity to bring all of these things together as we solve problems going forward? So this is the beginning of a process, and outlining how we would go about that, or just how we would go about even having this discussion is something that I do plan on providing more detail on Friday in a ministerial statement on that.
So is there any one of these as the top priority? We've had some issues with particularly the infrastructure schools that they're run down.
Well, they're all priorities. The infrastructure and health and safety issues, of course, of critical importance. And we started working on that immediately. And there's already some of those items that have been done. As I stated several weeks ago now, we've put a maintenance schedule online on moed.bm. We're executing that. It outlines some of the things that we're doing, what the short, medium, and longer term plans are. The goal is to update that on a regular basis. The strategic plan is going to be important because we need to look at where we're going. But part of that, we want to specifically look at the organizational structure of the ministry.